Our today's topic, types of solar cell. Our today's topic, types of solar cell.
Categories. The first one is water-based silicon or crystalline silicon. It is also called as a thick film technology, which is generally used everywhere. Almost 80% of the solar cells that we are using nowadays in India are the silicon-based technology, silicon crystalline-based technology. The second type is the thin film type, and the last type is the new technology, wherein some development in the material has been taken place and we have came to the reduction in the cost. Then in the first type, which is water-based silicon or a crystalline silicon, there are three basic types: monocrystalline, multicrystalline, and ribbon silicon. In thin film technology, there is gallium arsenide, amorphous silicon, cadmium telluride. So if you observe in thin film, only materials are changing, and depending upon that, various types are there: cadmium sulfide, copper indium gallium sulfide (CIGS), then CIS, copper indium intenside. Then new technologies include some new materials which makes a combination of two, three materials and it makes a hybrid cell. It could be CNT, carbon nanotube cell, or it can be DSSC, which is dye sensitized solar cell. It could be an organic cell or it can be tandem cell or a multi-junction solar cell. To increase the efficiency of the solar cell, new technologies has been developed. Now, one by one, we'll go in detail with. So, first of all, coming with the thick film and thin film technology, if we compare the two, then the dimension of the thick film technology are around 200 to 500 micrometer is the thickness. So, it comes out to be 0.008 to 0.02 inches. Whereas if we compare it with the thin film technology, then the thickness of a thin film solar cell is 1 to 10 micrometer. So as the name indicates, it is very thin, so less amount of material is required. But comparatively, the efficiency of thin film is less as compared to that of a thick film. So almost 80% are the thick film and 20% are the thin film. We make use of a thin film in calculators, watches, electronic equipments. Okay. And in foreign countries, generally, the wall of a building is coated with a solar sensitive material, which is generally a thin film technology, wherein they can use the solar PV for room heating purpose. We already have seen the room heating application. So in the countries, cold countries, they always need the heating. So for that purpose, they make a wall of a building east and west generally, or the rooftop as well, with a solar sensitive coating to the building wall itself, so that continuously solar use continuously they can use the solar power for some of the applications. Now going in details with the water-based silicon or the crystalline silicon, the first is the monocrystalline. So as the name indicates, mono means what? One. So there is one dominant silicon technology only having single crystal structure. So the dimension of a crystal is fixed, and similarly multiple crystals are connected together to form a monocrystalline structure. Now multicrystalline, second type. So multi means what? The crystal is same but with different sizes. Okay, here the meaning of multi or poly, they want to say different sizes of the same crystal means multi, and poly means multiple grains with multiple dimensions. Okay, nowadays multi and poly both are combined together, but initially multicrystalline was a separate type wherein the crystal is same, I mean the silicon, but the sizes of the crystal were varying and hence it was called as multicrystalline. Okay, so cell in a multicrystalline structure is made up of number of relatively large areas of a single crystal grains which each size varying from 1 mm to 10 centimeter in size. So large amount of variety was available in sizes of a silicon cell, and when we go with multiple sizes with the same crystal, it becomes multicrystalline. Now this is a bit theoretical because these are just the types. So you understand the difference. I am trying to pinpoint the basics in different types as well so that it will be easy for remembering. The third type is a polycrystalline, which is merged in this diagram. But basically, polycrystalline contains multiple grains with different dimensions. For example, the dimension could be from 1 micrometer to 1 millimeter. So the examples of polycrystalline are CDTE, which is cadmium telluride cell, or it could be um, large grained polycrystal and low resistivity cadmium sulfate was evaporated on it during manufacturing. So likewise, I've shown only three types here: mono, multi, poly, ribbon. So the structure is like a ribbon. Otherwise, the silicon itself is the material used for wafer technology. The other types which I have not mentioned here are the microcrystalline and amorphous. So microcrystalline, as the name indicates, the grain size is less than 1 micrometer and hence it is called as the microcrystalline. Again, silicon wafer itself is used for the uh, making the solar cell. Now last type is the amorphous. So if you see the dictionary meaning of amorphous, you might be knowing that it is non-uniform or it is up and down. The surface is not very smooth. So here there are no single crystal region, but multiple crystals with multiple dimensions are used, and hence the structure looks like amorphous, and hence the name amorphous. So here we have completed the first type, which is water-based silicon or a crystalline silicon, wherein the basic wafer is of silicon, and with different grain sizes and different crystal structure, we have five different types. Now the second type is the thin film technology, wherein different materials we are using. So here the thickness is very small, which is 1 to 10 micrometer. So less material is required, but the efficiency of thin film is comparatively less as compared to that of a thick film. And rest types we already have seen depending upon the material, which are gallium arsenide, GaAs, or it is amorphous silicon, ASI, cadmium telluride, or it can be cadmium sulfide, or it can be CIGS or CIS. And new technologies make use of some hybrid combination to compromise between the thickness and the efficiency. So we get good efficiency at comparatively less material. So material will be greater than thin film but less than thick film, and efficiency will be better than that of thin film, but in comparatively in less material we get almost similar efficiency as that of a thick film technology. So in monocrystalline silicon, which we have studied, mostly mono or poly are the two types which we make use of almost in all the applications. So we'll see some of the features of monocrystalline which are important. So it has higher power generation for a given area. Then production method of a monocrystalline is complicated because we are using single crystal with the same sizes. So dimension wise all the sizes should be same. Therefore its manufacturing is comparatively difficult. Then higher research efficiency. It has high manufacturing cost, and um, so wafer sawing is very necessary to have good assembling and manufacturing of a monocrystalline silicon. Now, these are some of the theoretical points. So I'll publish the YouTube video of it. You can go through it multiple times so that you can memorize some of the important things which are asked in your test as well, for in same as well as for the final. So polycrystalline silicon, some of the features we'll see. So wafer saving production technology is used in case of polycrystalline because different dimensions we can go with the same crystal silicon. So this is base suitable for the option of another 10 years. Everywhere we are going with polycrystalline. It is widely used in PV installation, rooftop PV installation. Then manufacturing is inexpensive as compared to that of monocrystalline because different dimensions are allowed here. Efficiency is bit lower as compared to that of a microcrystalline. And some of the features of thin film technology are it is easy for manufacturing, best suitable for building integrated technology. As I have mentioned, it is it is coated on the wall of a building structure, but it has less power per unit area. So comparatively, it generates less power. So requirement of low material because it is thin film. It can be processed in various ways. Higher theoretical efficiency, but modules are very lightweight. Okay. So these are some of the features about the solar cell. Now we'll see the next point, which is the factors influencing the electrical design of solar system. Some of the basic points I'll cover today, and in last 2-3 minutes we'll take the question answer session. So there are different points or different factors which affects the solar system design. Sun intensity, as you know, at 12 noon, sun gives us maximum power. So at 12 noon, we get maximum efficiency. So it is the sun intensity. Sun angle, so when sun travel from east to west, it changes from say 0 at 12 noon it is 90 degree and it is 180 degree when it is at the east. So as this angle varies, the amount of power extracted from the sun with the help of a flat plate collector or any solar PV technology is going to get vary. Next one is the shadow effect. So as you know, whenever there is a shadow, definitely the solar generation will be less. So while designing the system, we have to take care that there are no big trees or buildings coming in between sun and the uh, rooftop solar system that we are going to plan. Otherwise, you should change the place of your solar system because you cannot remove the building or a tree, right? So you have to take into consideration the shadow effect as well. Then electrical load matching. This is very technical issue. We'll go in detail with all graphs and everything. Then climatic effect. So as you know, during sunny days, we get maximum solar efficiency. We can have maximum extraction of the power from the sun. Whereas in case of winter or a rainy season, comparatively the heat energy is less and we get less amount of solar power. But almost throughout the year, we get minimum 6 to 8 hours solar energy. Then last is the sun tracking or MPPT, which is again the important factor. We are going to take one experiment based on this. If we track the sun along with the direction of the sun from east to west, then definitely we can extract large amount of energy as compared to that of a fixed structure. I mean, suppose our rooftop system is with a tilt angle of say 45 degree, then when sun angle will be 45 degree, that time sun will be exactly facing to the collector, right? Solar rooftop system which we have placed. So at that time it is going to extract the maximum power. So if we make our system movable with respect to the sun angle, then at every moment of time we are tracking the sun so that sun will directly face the solar system that we have placed and we can achieve the maximum efficiency. Again, we are going in detail with all these points one by one with a diagrammatic representation. So see, this is a solar intensity I have shown. So this is the IV characteristics which we have seen in the last lecture. So as the intensity or the solar irradiance go on increasing, then definitely the characteristics is shifted in upward direction wherein we can get maximum current, okay, and we can extract the maximum power as well. This is the IV characteristics I have shown. If we draw PV characteristics, then PV characteristics will also get shifted upward to give us the maximum power. Therefore, at 12 noon, when sun intensity is highest, we can extract maximum amount of energy from the sun. This is the sun angle. So as sun moves from east to the west, 0, 90° at 12 noon and 180° during east direction, then these characteristics will get shifted upward downward. So at 12 noon we get the highest amount of current. From morning to 12 noon, I mean sunrise to 12 noon, the energy goes on increasing. From 12 noon to say evening 6 or 7, the again sun angle increases, but solar power extraction go on decreasing. So this characteristics, we cannot say any direction for it, but as the sun angle varies, then 0 to 12 noon, the extraction of the power will go on increasing, but from 12 to evening, again it will start decreasing. So accordingly, characteristics will move downward or upward. Then effect of shadow, if there is a shadow, there will be less extraction of the solar power because amount of energy received will be less due to the shadow effect. We are going to perform one practical on effect of shadow as well. So characteristics will get shifted accordingly. If shadow is removed, characteristics will move upward. If shadow is inserted, characteristics will move downward. Now, effect of temperature. Again, depending upon the effect of temperature, the characteristics changes. So this is the IV characteristics and this is the PV characteristics. So both the characteristics are drawn on the same graph. So you can observe the upper one with a maximum power and maximum current is shown at 25 degrees centigrade, whereas at 43 degrees centigrade, the as the temperature increases, the characteristics gets lower down because this is the climatic temperature. So the relative temperature difference achieved by the solar radiation and the ambient temperature definitely will decrease the solar extraction. So when the ambient temperature is very high, so in sunny days, though we say we get maximum amount of energy, solar extraction, but there is no much difference between the efficiency that we are getting during say very high temperature and a moderate temperature, because with the effect of temperature the power extraction decreases because the current carrying capacity also decreases. The current delivered by the solar cell
And thank you
decreases
for
because
watching. See you
silicon
next
wafer we
time.
are using, and its characteristics also gets affected with the temperature, and hence the characteristics changes. Now sun intensity
And
and
thank you for
climate, again I
watching.
need
See you
some more
next
time
time.
because we have to go into technical details of it. So we'll stop here today.